Hello, patrons, and welcome to Minis and Movies Episode 5. Yes, all the way up to 5. Today I'm going to be talking about the Warhammer 40k Slow Grow League I've been playing in. I'm sure if you guys follow me on Facebook, you've seen some of that. And if you don't, you should follow me on Facebook, John Oakland Spencer. Yeah, you can see some stuff from me. You can communicate with me, see some stuff from projects I'm working on and such. You can also follow me on Twitter. I throw some stuff up there too, and that's at John O. Spencer. Cunning, I know. In addition to the 40k Slow Grow League, I'm actually going to talk about the Avengers Initiative Part 12, AntMan. And I'm stopping with this because the rest of these are way too damn recent. Civil War and all, pretty fresh in the memory, and man, I don't want it to seem like work watching Marvel movies, because while they are enjoyable as hell, I want to get some other stuff in there. So we're going to take a pause. It's the end of Phase 2. Seems like a good stopping point to head on to other stuff. So hey, if you have any ideas for me, feel free to throw them at me. The aforementioned John Oakland Spencer on Facebook, at John O. Spencer on Twitter, or John O. Oakland Spencer at yahoo.com. That's a good email to get me at. I don't remember what email I'm giving you. I had a co-host one set up, but that doesn't matter because that podcast doesn't matter anymore. It's in the past. All right, so tonight I am, since it's early enough in the night that I can drink and not affect work tomorrow, even though it's a Friday, and it's a short day because that's the best thing about my job, short days on Fridays. Really good. I'm having a pile driver, which is a screwdriver with too much vodka. That was actually unintentional. I was pouring and doing something else, then looked and I'm like, holy moly, that's a little too much. But it's good. Ron. Alrighty. Slow Grow Leagues, 40k Slow Grow League in specific. I'm going to give you guys the whole story of how I got back in 40k. Drug kicking and screaming. So, early days on Fridays. Mentioned it earlier. I get off work, and when I was running the Malifaux Slow Grow at games and stuff, I'd be up there super early before any of the guys would be there. And some of my old crew, Zach and For Real, were up there, and they've been playing 40k a lot. So I chat with them, make fun of them, have a good time with them. You know how it goes. And they always want me to get back into 40k, and I'm like, I'm not really interested in getting back into 40k. Efficient seems fine, but I don't want to move that many models around the board. I'm not really interested in that kind of experience anymore. So then Matt and Gregory's running the Slow Grow League, played a game one night, and I'm just chilling. The guys are playing Malifaux. There's not enough people for me to play, so I'm just letting them play and walking around. And they play a game with a handful of models. I believe all told there were probably less than 30 models on the table. Greg was playing with 3 knights and 2 flyers, which was pretty cool. And then Matt was playing with 2 knights and some AdMech support, which I thought was pretty cool. And that got me thinking. I'm like, I could actually play that small a points value, that small of a model count, maybe even a little more model count, because Matt had some dudes in there. I'm like, I could play some small model count like that. Maybe old school War Machine, where maybe maximum you have 40, 50 models. You're being a little crazy. I didn't give much thought to it until Gregory and Matt started talking about a Slow Grow League, and I'm like, not really interested in buying new stuff and getting in. And it's about the time Company of Iron was coming out. I was looking to get in that. I go to the local store, and they're out of Company of Iron, and I'm a little disappointed. I'd earmarked money for that. I'm like, yeah, it's no big deal. I would take it back in stock. They're not sure when they're going to do it. Like, whatever. And I'm back chatting with them, and Gregory's like, yeah, I'm getting ready to start the Slow Grow League. I'm going to play Dark Eldar, and I need the getting started Dark Eldar box. I'm willing to trade somebody. I put it on Facebook. I'm willing to trade somebody this, fully assembled knight and everything for that box. Well, the box happens to be about the same cost as Company of Iron. I got to thinking, it's a pretty good deal. It's like half price in a night. So I said, fuck it. Bought the box, traded it, and that was cool. Later that night, one of the locals, Dwayne, who's an old GW guy, old friend of mine, worked at Drop Zone. We've known each other for years and years and years. Came in, saw that I had it. He's like, oh, that's cool. I got another one maybe you can have. And if you really want to start the Slow Grow League, I can give you a Getting Started Skitarii box that you have to replace whenever you get the chance. So at that point, I was pretty much in. He brought the stuff the next day. Took a look at the night. It was pretty good. He ended up winning $40 for it, which is a hell of a deal. A hell of a deal. So I took that, took his Skitarii box, and lo and behold, I'm in. Handful of purchases later, I've got enough to start and do first couple weeks. I bought another box of infantry and the book. And I found the book for free online, but I'm all about buying the stuff you need to play the game, so I bought a physical copy as well to carry around with me. Don't regret it at all. GW still puts out great quality books. Gotten there, and then since then got a couple other deals. Got some Sindonian Dragoons, which are big Sentinel Walker guys with lances that are actually way better than I thought when I got them. For less than half price each, got 6 of them for $120, which is really, really good. So suddenly, lots of good deals, and I'm in. So I start playing and having a great time. I actually managed to get max games first week. I went, was it? I went 3-1-1, which is pretty good, you know. Or 2-1-1. Sorry, 2-1-1. I actually played more games than that, but the rest don't count. Which is pretty solid. Had a good time. Things were working cool. There's some negative game experience in 40K still. I will talk about that in the eventual 40K review, which I'm gonna wait till the end of the slow grow so I see all the points. But it's not bad. It's a fun game. And honestly, a slow grow is just the way to do it. You've got a handful of models you're building every week. I do not know why every damn company does not have official slow grow rules. We're using some alternate ones that Greg made up himself, where the main focus is winning games helps you. Assembling models and painting models is the focus. You get points for assembling models, you get points for painting models, you get points for writing up a battle report for your list. You get points, again, some points for winning. Lots of cool stuff there, and I really like the way it's going. Even when Greg, who's in the military, moves on to another post, we're going to continue to go on. Matt and I have talked about changing the rules for the next time, maybe work it out a little differently. He does have sort of a campaign element where you're one troop's choice and one HQ that you had to take in your first week, because we started with a small patrol format detachment. Those models actually, if the troops hold an objective or kill a unit, I think it's maybe just the hold an objective, at the end of the game, they get an upgrade. And if your character holds an objective or kills a unit or model, they get an upgrade. So my Tech Priest Steve, has been whooping people's butts. This joke that all he does is repair vehicles and murder things in melee. So it's been a great time going through. I missed week 2 because of work stuff, but week 3, I've been getting about 2-3 games in a week, which has been fun. Nice, slow way to get it. No real pressure to put a lot of models together. This is, in fact, the only week I felt any pressure to get models together, but that's because I actually want to put together more than the week grows to try and get some variety in my list. Planning for 1,500 points, and so I'm planning for 2,000 without bringing any of the knights, and then I'm going to slow down, paint what I got, and see what we're doing. So that'll be interesting. But yeah, like I said, I feel some pressure to put models together this week, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to get my robots together and then worry about the battle servitors eventually. But again, it's been a good time. I definitely suggest any slow grow league for learning a game. It's just great. I mean, you really get familiar with the models. You really get to ease into the game. I still haven't fully read the rule book, and it's tiny. But you get the gist of it. You look at little bits when you're confused, when you're like, oh, that didn't seem right. Let me check out that rule. It really is an amazing format for it. In addition to that, I've traded away some old GW stuff I had lying around in my storage unit, aka not Brushhead Dave's basement, for some Death Watch. So maybe if we do another slow grow in the future, I'll play with them. It's just cool to take stuff I'm not using and have no intention to use that I would just give to the guy who sells stuff on eBay for me to sell and then get more stuff for, and just give it directly to somebody for stuff that they don't need anymore. For real, didn't need Death Watch at all. He's like, yeah, I got to get started because I'm like kind of interested in them. They've always been one of those Marine units slash chapters formations that I really like, and been pretty cool. So to pad this out a little longer and make it worth your time, I'm going to give you some ideas for starting a slow grow league. The key is to obviously have it grow slowly, but you don't want it to grow too fast. If you have to put too many models in too fast, it loses its potency. So we started off at 500 points, which is a quarter of what you normally play at 2,000. Felt about right. I felt like you could easily get, for even my list, I had 2 troops, my HQ, and a heavy support. Seems good. I also suggest heartily in a game like this, if they have formations, theme lists, any of that kind of ilk, sectoral armies for Infinity, not really anything in Malifaux for them, don't let people use those to start. Put those aside. So for 40k, we're starting with the patrol detachment to limit what people can take. Some people don't do anything absolutely mutarded, because if you let them, they will. You're always going to get the guys who just want to come in and curb stomp people. That's their enjoyment of the game. Make it harder for them to just curb stomp newbies, because this is a new person event. Keep that in mind. Discourage people from doing anything absolutely silly. Try and keep them low key. Random back. Whoa, Zatch is a little crazy. Playing perfectly by the rules. It's not like anything was really egregious. It's just his inherent skill plus they were allowing Forge rolled in week 1, which they're not allowing ever again in these. Was just a little more than most people could take. He's been pretty much crushing everyone's soul. The only thing that's keeping him back is the fact that other people can hobby faster than him. So that's also a good thing. You have someone who's crushing everyone's soul in the game, but can't keep up hobby-wise, so it's still a fair and balanced league. So that's cool. You want to do that. You want to limit what they can take, and you want to grow slowly. Like originally it was 500, and then immediately jumped to 750. Greg took to heart. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to grab some random stuff I have lying around to throw into the list to make it that, and realized that was two big jumps too fast. So he made it week of 500, second week of 500, then 750. Was 1 week of 750. Then I believe we went to 1,000 points, and we're doing 2 weeks at 1,000 points, and then we're going to do a week at 1250. I think we're just hitting 1215 this week. I should probably read the goddamn whole thing. Well, the whole point is that he's not growing too fast, He's given us 2 weeks, some weeks to do it. Some weeks he only give us one, but pretty much, yeah. So it's 500, then 500 second week, 750, then 2 weeks at 1,000 points. We're actually doing 2 weeks at 1250, and then 1,500 for the last week, which is super cool. He also, just to give you an idea, gave you extra points for recruiting new players. You get points for playing games, winning games, building models. Post, you do your battle report or whatever, pictures, whatever. Get points for that. It's really cool. But you definitely want to limit what people can do to start. Malifaux has a very good slow grow league. The rules are a little bit silly because there's a lot of things you can do that are outside of what you'd normally do in a game. And while it's cool, I also think it may not be it's something for veterans to keep in mind, but it makes the game a little weird. So I would think maybe be careful looking at that stuff. If I were to do one again, I would probably not use them as written. I would rewrite them a little bit. And you always want to do that. You always rewrite the rules to suit what your group is. Your group's not like everyone else's group. You want to change things up a little bit. Journeyman League for Private Press, pretty good. I don't agree with allowing themeless fucking ever in it, but my dislike of themeless is a well-known fact. But it is actually a solid point. Is you're not teaching people to play the actual game. You're making them go towards a theme list. You want them to get a collection and play with a collection, and then they can go on and discover theme lists. But definitely limit how fast it grows. Too much too fast, and I think sometimes the slow grows too much too fast. Malifaux seems like it's a little fast, but luckily it's only a model a week, so I mean, model maybe 2 a week is not bad. One box set generally covers you. 2 if you're being a little weird, but that's fine. I don't see any problem with that. 40k similar, with 250 points a week. You can usually get that out of a box set. Maybe box set plus some extra stuff you have lying around. So some weeks you might have to buy 2, but since you've got some weeks where you're not changing anything, works pretty well. As I said, limit what you can take. Try and keep it logical, though. You don't want to be artificially limiting people. Like, about the point we switched to a battalion, which is slightly larger force organization chart for 40k, was about the time the guard players, who are whiny people, started bitching about not having enough space to do everything they necessarily wanted to do. They still had options they could do, but it was going a lot outside of their field. So that felt organic. It's like, this is about the time they need to change, so let's change now. It'll work well. But yeah, sit down, figure out how the game works. You actually don't even necessarily need to play the game. You just need to understand how it works, see what normal force looks like, figure out what the points value are. I have alternate journeyman rules I wrote. They're pretty solid. Everyone loved them, and I actually adapted those to Warzone when Drop Zone was doing Warzone. Got some good reviews on that. So yeah, spend some time, write them out. Ask people online, see what they've done. The achievement system is good, or even just simple achievements like we're doing for ours. Promote hobbying, give people points for painting, make painting models and playing a handful of games, less worry about playing the games, more worry on painting the models. Alright, sorry about that. Had a little hiccup with the audio there. Hit a button I shouldn't have. But yeah, you want to make that painting models and such is a viable way to win the league with some gameplay. You want to make it a balance, My German rules had that. Greg's rules have that for 40k slow grow, and also the Malifaux rules have that as well. Unfinity doesn't have a slow grow. I've written rules for them. I wasn't as happy, but that game's a bit more complicated. But I do feel like you could do something similar for that and just reward people for mostly playing and painting. So that's cool. If you have any thoughts on this, I can make this a much bigger topic than it is as I start rambling on. Feel free to hit me up. Just in case you missed them at the beginning when I said them, John Oakland Spencer on Facebook, at John O. Spencer on Twitter, or go for John Oakland Spencer at yahoo.com. I answer all of those as much as I can. Throw your ideas at me for that stuff. Heck, I'll work with something with you and throw it on here. Put it out to everyone if you want, just so they can hear it. Ron. Tasty. Vodka. All right, on to the Avengers Initiative Part 12, The End, Ant-Man. It's the end of Phase 2. It's very cool to see it come to completion. It'd be very cool when the rest come out. Sometimes after they get done with all of them, if I'm still doing this crazy stuff, I'll do everything from Civil War to the end of that arc, let's say, the whole Infinity arc, because that's coming here. I mean, it's in the foreseeable future, which is super cool. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about Ant-Man. Ant-Man is super cool, fun. It was, as always, there's like, oh, I'm not sure if this movie will work. Yeah, of course it worked. You can see how it was going to be a slightly different movie originally, but they did a really good job of weaving in the Marvel Universe. And as a matter of fact, I feel like this one feels like the most standalone of the movies since Iron Man, because it's not setting up for anything else really. I mean, kind of leads into Civil War, but that's not even important. That's like an afterthought. Um, I feel like this is one of the most complete of the movies. It may even be the most complete, but this or Iron Man, the most complete movies in and of themselves that are where the stuff in the universe is just used to make you feel like, oh, hey, this takes place in a universe. You know, there's other things going on in this universe. They talked about the Avengers. Oh, there's Falcon, cool stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoy this movie. One of my more favorite comedy movies in Marvel. I think I like it better than Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's just because it is a better overall movie or better overall film, let's say, than movie. The actual film crunchy bits are better than Guardians. Guardians is a great movie still, but as evidenced by my ranking, which was very good. So let's go into my normal rankings for stuff like this. Rewatchability, shit, man, zero shots of Kraken. I can imagine rewatching it right now, and I literally just got done watching it 20 minutes ago. Okay, looking at the timer, maybe 30 minutes ago, but close enough. You get what I mean. Um, no real flaws with it. Paced well, gets going well, good beats. Very enjoyable. In fact, while I'm talking about it, let's talk about. I thought the villain was kind of interesting. He seemed like one of the more realistic villains. You know, he's obviously going crazy because of the particles and just not thinking straight. And you can see it's like struggle inside him of like he doesn't think he's crazy. He knows he may be a little over the top, I think, but he doesn't think he's crazy. Weaves in perfectly well to the series without relying on anything from it. So good there. Nostalgia. I'm gonna give it one shot of Kraken. It is pretty much as good as I remember it being. Doesn't have the same impact as some of the other movies, like Age of Ultron, one of those ones where I just love it every time amazingly. This is still very good, very enjoyable, very watchable. Good comedy beats, and holds up very well for timeline. Storyline. I'm gonna give this. It's tempting. I don't want to give it a bad rating, but this is supposed to be how it actually hangs out in the overall timeline, overall storyline for Marvel. So I'm gonna give it two shots of Kraken because while it fits in the overall timeline very well, it is not. It's not necessary to be in the movie. It doesn't really add or detract from the Marvel Universe aside from the small Civil War tie-in, which is not even necessary. You don't even need to see this before Civil War. So yeah, enjoyable, but the storyline is not a big part of the Marvel Universe. Post credits. His two post credits. One is a setup for Ant-Man and the Wasp. Setting up your own sequel in the post credits is awesome. And then the stinger at the absolute end is literally a scene from Civil War, which I think is a good thing if you have nothing else to add at the end. Just add a scene from the next movie to or one of the next movies to get their mouth watering, the juices flowing. I thought that was really cool since I was still thinking about watching Civil War again, but very cool to see that. And if you haven't seen the movie yet in the theater, it's spot on. I'm going to give post credits scenes one shot of Kraken. They're simple, they're easy, but still pretty cool. All right. Stan Lee cameo. I'm gonna give it a good two shots of Kraken. It takes place at the end, so it doesn't detract from the movie. It doesn't fit in excessively, but they was part of a story. It needed someone there, so Stanley's a good guy to add there. So two shots seems fine. Soundtrack, three shots of Kraken, give or take. It's got some good beats, but it's not didn't really stand out through most of it. I enjoyed it, but wouldn't consider buying it. Might recognize the theme song if I heard it by itself. So not bad. Not amazing. Probably on the weak side overall for Marvel soundtracks. Um, they did use some songs here or there and to good effect, which is fine. Um, let's see, what else do I talk about here? Oh, I could talk about one shots. Yeah, those are dead a long time ago. No one shots. There's a fun deleted scenes. I suggest watching them. Overall, still a great, fun, good movie. Still zero shots of Kraken. Watch it again at a moment's notice. Again, as I said earlier, without rambling too much, a really complete movie you can watch with someone who doesn't have any interest in the Marvel Universe at all. Just to give their mouth watering, like, oh, you see the bits working in. You don't need to know who these guys are. Shield, obviously, they're good guys. He's working for them. It lays all the groundwork. It is a perfect self-contained movie. The only one more self-contained is Iron Man because it was the first. So, thumbs up there. This next movie, God, I don't even know what to watch next. I'm probably gonna go do another series at some point, but in the meantime, I'm gonna want something. This is gonna sound weird, but I want something a little standalone, something I can really watch on my computer because TV time sharing with the roommate is occasionally difficult. Even though it's my TV, that doesn't really matter. It's just I'm a nice guy, so I kind of want to watch something cool. Holy moly, they got Andromeda on Amazon Prime. You might hear me talk about some Andromeda. I might talk about that. Actually, you know what? I think the next movie I'm going to talk about right here is Jean-Claude Van Damme, Nowhere to Run. We're watching that next time, so if you get Amazon Prime, check it out, give it a look-see, and you can listen to me review it. After that, I am thinking about watching like a series. I'm actually thinking about going all in, and I do mean all in, and hitting up the Fast and Furious series from the beginning all the way to the Fate of the Furious because I should be done with it before the next one comes out since I've got a whole year for that. And I mean all of it. I'll even fucking hit Fast and the Furious 3, Tokyo Drift. Fast and Furious 3 Tokyo Drift, which I've never seen all the way through. I've seen bits, I wasn't really interested, but for you guys, tell me what you think. I'm thinking about doing that, but I want to make sure something you guys are interested in. Or if you have any other ideas for movies, one shots, bonus points if I can find them free. I prefer not to pay for crappy movies if I can help it. I mean, shitty movie is my brand, shitty action movie especially. And if you can find like a set on Amazon or something that's like 4 or 5 movies cheap, I'll always pick those up. But I prefer free when I can get it. Ron. Alright, so there you go. I hope I wasn't too rambly today. Felt like I was a little rambly, but it's okay. If you have any ideas, questions, comments, concerns, hit me up at John O. Spencer on Twitter, John Oakland Spencer on Facebook, and John Oakland Spencer at yahoo.com. Next week, we're going to watch, good lord, that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie I talked about 2 seconds ago that I don't remember. Nowhere to Run. God, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies are terrible. Alright, anyways. And then for our miniature section, God, I have no idea. We'll think of something. We'll talk some cool miniatures. We'll see what happens. And talk about something amazing. Maybe more 40K, maybe something else. We'll see what comes up. Until next time, thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for supporting More Than Dice. This one's for you. Cheers! Ah, that's good.